Watching monumental structures rise from bare ground is exciting. It's like watching a baby grow to become a giant. But what happens when those giants crash right before your eyes? From a monstrous crane dropping its 450-ton payload to an utterly long bridge folding in on itself during rush hour and a nasty accident that left men in hard hats scampering for safety, here are 5 shocking construction disasters caught on camera. There are many risks that come with day driving. Reckless drivers, sudden stops, and maybe a pothole or two. But the last thing any driver wants is a 375-meter-long bridge collapsing underneath them. Unfortunately, that terrifying scenario became real for motorists in Vietnam's Phu Tho province on September 9, 2024. Although the dashcam footage shows just one truck nosediving into the water as the bridge gave way, officials say up to 10 vehicles were caught in the disaster, including 6 motorbikes and 1 electric bike. In total, 13 people went missing. 3 were later rescued. 1 was found dead, and the rest, well, the authorities still haven't found them at the time of making this video. And the reports about why the bridge collapsed have not been conflicting, to say the least. Most media outlets blamed it on the heavy rainfall and strong winds caused by Super Typhoon Yagi. However, some experts say the typhoon wasn't the main culprit, but the final straw in a long list of serious issues that had been overlooked for many years, including lack of maintenance, illegal sand mining, and the erosion of steam bed material around the bridge's foundation. January 10, 2018 started off just like any other workday at 2301 St. Elmo Road in Austin, Texas. The sun was out, the tools were clanking. These construction workers were in the groove, lifting what looked like just another concrete wall. One guy even climbed on top of it like he was surfing. Another casually pulled out his phone to film the action. But just when they thought they'd escaped the difficult part, they got an unpleasant surprise. The wires holding the slab snapped, causing the crane to buckle and crash. What followed was instant chaos. Nearly 6 dozen workers fled for safety, each running in different directions as the dead weight of the crane thundered toward the ground. During that hot chase, one man got trapped beneath the wreckage. For a moment, it felt like the worst had happened. But somehow, the Austin Fire Department swooped in and pulled him out without any life-threatening injuries. It was a remarkable escape made possible by early detection, quick reaction, and a huge stroke of luck. The kind that a small group of builders in South Korea desperately wished they'd had on the 25th of February 2025. On that fateful day, 10 workers from Hyundai Engineering traveled some 50 miles away from Seoul to continue the construction of a highway overpass around Section 9 of the Sejong-Anseong Expressway. Once they arrived, they went about their business for the day, and everything seemed to be going as planned. Well, that was until 9:50 a.m. local time, when a loud rumbling roared across the site. 5 massive steel beams, each one nearly 164 feet long, suddenly gave way, collapsing in terrifying succession, one after another like dominoes made of pure terror. Somehow, 6 workers made it out of the wreckage alive, albeit with different degrees of injuries, but sadly, the other 4 perished. It was a devastating blow that once again shines the light on South Korea's poor construction safety record and the immeasurable danger that comes with building gigantic structures. Speaking about structures, let's talk about a name you probably know, Hard Rock Hotel. Nearly every major city in the world has one, and in 2019, the Kailas family decided to bring it to New Orleans. So they made all the necessary pre-construction arrangements. Before you know it, the project was underway. Brick by brick, floor by floor, the skeleton of the future Hard Rock Hotel began to rise. Soon, an 18-story tower of concrete and ambition loomed over the New Orleans skyline. At that point, you'd imagine that all that was left was some extra bits of structural work before the grand opening. However, at exactly 9 a.m. on Saturday, October 12, 2019, what was supposed to be the Hard Rock Hotel became a Hard Rock collapse. Amateur footage filmed from nearby shows one half of the top floor crumbling like wet sand. Hard concrete, steel beams, and other debris rained on workers on the lower floors. A temporary elevator attached to the building also ripped loose and slammed onto Rampart Street. Within seconds, the site turned from a construction zone into a disaster zone with multiple casualties. 36-year-old Quinyon Wimberly, 49-year-old Anthony Floyd Maigret, and 63-year-old Jose Ponce Areola all lost their lives, and several others were left injured. Margaret's body was retrieved about 24 hours later, but efforts to recover the other bodies were far more difficult than expected. Local authorities closed Canal Street for months, and a controlled demolition of the damaged structure was carried out before the remains of Wimberley and Areola were removed almost 1 year after the incident. As you can imagine, that agonizing delay only deepened the heartbreak for the families. And after all that pain and 2 whole years of litigation, a Louisiana grand jury chose not to indict anyone on criminal charges. Not sure what to make of that, but I'm pretty sure the family of the deceased would have wanted more. A new stadium is something that would excite any sporting fan base, and the Milwaukee Brewers baseball supporters are no different. Back in November 1996, the team announced a daring plan to replace the aging county stadium with a next-generation ballpark. They called it Miller Park, a marvel of engineering set to include 7 massive panels of retractable roofs, divided into 30 interconnected sections, and enough seats to accommodate 43,000 screaming fans. Construction started in earnest sometime, and by April 1999, it was time to lay the roofs. For that, they called in a heavy hitter, the Lampoon LTL 1500 Transilift, aka the Big Blue Crane. Day after day, week after week, this 2,000-ton workhorse showed its might, installing 9 sections without any problems. But on July 14, 1999, something unexpected happened. The crew was in the process of lifting the 10th roof section, which weighed around 450 tons. Everyone was suited up, everyone except Terry Young, the crane operator. Reports say Young felt uneasy about the wind speed and asked his bosses for permission to stop the lift. But instead of listening, the site manager brushed it off and instructed the team to carry on. And then, at exactly 5:12 p.m., the worst happened. Investigations by the Occupational Safety and Health Administration revealed that the wind speed around the construction site was between 20 and 21 miles per hour, with gusts of up to 26 to 27 miles per hour. The boom of the Big Blue Crane, however, is designed to withstand up to 20 miles per hour of wind. Young was right after all, but it was too late. 3 of his colleagues, Jeffrey Wisher, William DeGrave, and Jerome Starr, all lost their lives. 5 others suffered injuries, and nearly $100 million was paid out in fines and court settlements, all because someone failed to yield to the warnings of their subordinate. In the end, 3 companies involved in the construction were fined, but no single individual was charged with crime in relation to the accident. So, what do you think? Was that the right call? Let me know what you think in the comments. This video shook you even a little, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and while you're at it, be sure to check out our other videos on the channel.